George Wilder escaped from prison. George broke out of prison 3 times. He fooled the police. He lived in the bush. He swam rivers, crashed through roadblocks. He was polite and apologetic to people he stole from. What else? Well, nothing really. He's like a frame that has lost its photograph. Only a murky background remains. Yet George was once the most celebrated man in the country. People followed his tracks. They applauded his escapades. They diminished his crimes. A few counts of burglary and car conversion. Nothing really. Just a young man feeling his oats. They even sang songs about him, or at least sang along with Howard Morrison's George the Wilder NZ Boy. Even today, he's elusive. He got away from the police dozens of times. Now he escapes the public. He lives near a tiny settlement at the bottom of Hawke's Bay. It's as much a bolt hole as you could find in this country. Some people know where he lives, but not many. And he plays golf. Half a century on from the days when every newspaper marvelled over the way he stayed out of sight, George Wilder is still lying low. He remains fleet. In fact, he seems to have got rather better at it over the years. His tracks remain on the land, nonetheless. George first escaped on the 17th of May 1962. He climbed a 10-metre wall to break out of New Plymouth Prison. It was quite a feat. The hopelessness of the place must have lent him wings. New Plymouth Prison was built around 1870 in an era of Victorian prisons. New Zealand favoured, then, dreadful stone dungeons, although at least this one didn't become a backpackers' hostel like Christchurch's Addington Jail, or a tourist attraction like Napier's. These prisons fascinate the public because of their meanness, their sense of bread and water. They are the deepest, darkest dungeons of fairy tales. People look at their barren cells and shiver deliciously. They ask to see the places where people were hanged. Only 2 people were executed in the New Plymouth prison, both in the late 19th century, both Māori, one for killing a surveyor parcelling up his land for sale, the other for murdering his wife. The jail stands on the corner of Down and Robe Streets, prime CBD real estate in New Plymouth, a sad place with its blank stone walls broken by tiny windows. As with all the other relics of grim justice, no one wants to stay very long. Neither did George Wilder. Hard labour convicts were still breaking rocks there in the late 1950s, not long before George escaped. He was in for burglary, car conversion, a Jaguar, one of his favourites, and shop breaking. The cells were tiny, only 2.1 metres by 3 metres, the smallest in the land, too small to swing a cat or hold a man. So over the wall went George, and you only have to stand outside the stone pile to sympathise. He was a creature of bush and space. He was said to have changed out of his prison clothes on the jail's roof, putting on a check shirt and Air Force blue trousers, although there's no record of where he got them. A small car was reported to have broken through a police road checkpoint on the New Plymouth to Waitara highway shortly thereafter, and, chased by a traffic officer, it disappeared. Police said it was a green 1935 Chevrolet Junior with primrose grille and wheels. George always liked his cars. Police said George was a tough man, but not dangerous. The legend began at that moment. He might have been seen here, he was reported there, but essentially, he disappeared. At the time, Scott Carpenter was orbiting the earth and winning a reputation for disobeying orders. Adolf Eichmann, who stood trial for Holocaust atrocities inside a glass cage in Jerusalem, was on his way to the gallows. George Wilder was creating his own reputation. A stolen Thames trader he was believed to be driving crashed through a roadblock near Tokanu. A policeman fired 2 shots at him. They missed. Crashing through roadblocks was to become the most used phrase of his escapes. Police gave chase at speeds of up to 75 miles an hour, 120 kilometres per hour. Not too bad for an old trader.